Welcome back to the Toe to Toe Fight Show with Matt and Mark Nolan.
Matt Nolan. So
Oh my God! Yes, I didn't get it.
So
at first.
one of the worst things that can ever happen to you, if you have like a I don't want to call it a beard because I have like shitty facial hair, but when you have like stuff on your face prolifically for years, and then you grab your buzzer and it's a 1, and then I look like fucking Earthworm Jim.
Which I feel like feels like a shot because I'm clean shaven typically.
No fucking definition on my face at all. So
yeah,
buzz on my face, and now my daughter's like, "You look like Uncle Matt." I'm like, "Don't you dare say that."
You're welcome.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. So no beard. When will you get your scruff back? What are we looking at?
That's what, I mean, it's not like like I said, it's like I don't want to call it a beard because that's embarrassing.
I didn't call
like,
it a beard.
Beard. Yeah, there you go. So I don't know, 3-4 days I'll look half human.
3-4 days.
Yeah.
I'm betting the farm. Larry Legend here, slamming a burger. Futures bet.
Yeah, so Matt hit me up in October and was like...
October, folks.
So, Celtics...
Monster future for the Celtics to win the East, because the East is a joke. Less monster to win the whole thing, because the West typically is good. But they were like, oh, we're going to be totally injured. Kyrie, flat earth, suck it, you stink. So that hit big time. So, yeah. We have a lot of exciting stuff on the docket today.
Yeah, we got Owen Roddy coming up. Owen's super cool guy. So he works. He's most known for his work with Conor McGregor, SGB Ireland. But he's got a lot of stuff going on between.
Yeah, he's like a badass motherfucker, like an awesome fighter, killer coach. Raph, who we interviewed previously, is partners with him with Shadow Good Fightwear.
Shadow Fight Goods.
He's laughing. Would you stop? Listen,
Dr. Steve Barul over here. Shadow Good in fighting and stuff.
So we cut up the clip where I was the personality, Mark was the pragmatics, and everyone took that as a dig at Mark. But now does everyone understand why that wasn't a dig and that was a compliment? This is why. I'm not good with all the words, right? I didn't know the Ukraine was still in a fucking war, dude. And I feel like that's more of a them thing than a me thing. Ukraine. Right? I don't know. Whatever, dude. Ooh, cancel me. All right, so sorry. I fucked up a name, all right? All right, so anyways, he makes awesome gloves, which I already covered. Kick ass. I'm sorry. I fucking butchered the name for 1 second. Like I saw
Shadow Fight Goods.
Tito Ortiz called
the Babalu fight.
Conor McGregor. Oh, you got to look him up. He's like he called Conor McGregor.
I'm an old. I matured old. I matured old. My grandmother's 81,
yes,
so
exactly.
I matured old.
So yeah, so I messed up something. But again, that goes back to that entire what will eventually be on the Mount Rushmore of toe-to-toe fight show viral clips. Mark is the pragmatic one because I struggle with words.
Hey, brain, look at that fucking slit. Ugh.
You look like me. You should be. Well, you look like a Wish.com. Alibaba version of me.
Yeah, wow, the Temu version, Temu, whatever it's called.
Yeah, whatever it is.
All right, so listen, every show is it's the Ryan Garcia hour, but like we got to talk a lot about Ryan Garcia. So
where do we start?
I want to talk Ryan Garcia adjacent. So let's talk about CROCK or Not. Everyone and his brother is fucking retired.
Okay, we'll start there.
Yeah.
So CROCK or Not, right? Ryan Garcia just announced his retirement. We'll cover why momentarily. So he was like, basically like, fuck you guys, I'm retired. Tell me if you've heard this one before. So within the past, I don't even want to say calendar year, because it's since February, Teofimo has announced his retirement. Shakira Stevens has announced his retirement. Devin Haney momentarily retired. And now Ryan Garcia, right? So before we even entertain this as being factual, I guess I'll ask you. We'll entertain it. Yeah. Do you believe Ryan Garcia to be retired?
No.
Okay, we'll start there. Now, here's what I'll say. When I was like in 6th grade, I got a haircut where like my bangs were especially long, and we had this substitute teacher. I think her name, it wasn't Miss Arthur.
What are we fucking talking about?
Listen, this is what's called a fucking segue in the business, buddy. So buckle up, all right, Mister. I had a radio show in college, and she goes, that's not an original haircut. They had that haircut in like the 1930s, right? And I was like, all right, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, old lady substitute. But where I'm going with this is Ryan Garcia, Mr. Boxer. That's not an original idea, okay? Like, do you know how many times Ray Leonard retired?
Ryan Garcia's retirement is adjacent to a substitute teacher saying your hair wasn't unique in like 3rd grade?
6th grade. I thought you'd listen to the story.
I've
clearly that was lost on you. So the
Holy
idea was
shit.
that I go, look, Ryan, that's not a new idea.
Yeah.
So boxers snip snapping, retiring, unretiring, or just combat sports athletes in general, retiring and unretiring is not a new or unique idea.
And there's a bunch of different like categories of it. There's the like the fucking jaded guy who's like, oh, I'm taking my baseball and going home. Like Devin Haney. Devin Haney's like, oh, Ryan beat me, so I gotta fucking retire.
Sure.
And then you have guys like George Foreman, who's like took like 20 years off. He's like, you know what's good? Millions upon millions of dollars.
Sure.
And then you got guys that will come out of retirement for the right fight.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm not saying like a cash grab fight, but like a legacy type fight. So like, I don't want to say like Leonard coming out
Leonard
12 times.
Initially,
is
maybe
his first one.
For he came out of retirement for Hagler, but then he also came out for guys like Michael Nung and Hector Camacho, like ill-advised fights, right? So you see it quite a bit.
And then you have the desperate ones though. So that's the like, okay. So for the viewers at home, when I thought Spinks, tip of 40,
dead.
Who's not dead, but like honestly, almost fooled the eyes is Razor Ruddock and James Toney. So it was Razor Ruddock fighting James Toney. Watch that shit if you want to cry.
Do not watch that shit. It's terrible.
It's grosser than Kevin Randleman's staph infection.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So in terms of the idea of the modern combat athlete retiring, it's not new or unique. So Ryan Garcia announced his retirement. So think of how many times we've seen athletes retire, combat athletes retire in modern history, and how untrue it is. So my question is, why do you think it's so prominent and prevalent and common for athletes to retire and unretire in combat sports, especially?
So I think part of it is jockeying for contracts. So like it's not it's not the NFL can't just be like, I'm retired, pay me more money. Like, but in boxing. So, like, we were talking, like, Tank has been dominating. That recent 8th round stoppage, undefeated. And they're like, well, what's next for Tank? They're like, Ryan Garcia. And he's like, no, I'm retired.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, well, now it's like, if you want to fight Garcia, you had to pay before. Yeah. Now you really have to pay up.
Yeah.
So I get that piece if it's a negotiation piece.
And also, I think we see it quite a bit we saw it a ton in the UFC with a guy like Conor. Think how many times Conor retired, right? But Conor,
he had contingencies. He has Proper 12. He has a stake in BKFC.
Not only that, he's in an organization.
No, totally. Yeah, no, I get that piece too.
So, but if he's locked into an organization, he can retire. It's to get out of contractual obligations.
When you're making, the fuck is the Patrick Swayze movie?
Roadhouse.
When you're making it was so fucking it was such a great movie that I forgot the fucking name. When you're making Roadhouse remake money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like you're the guy who knocks. You know what I mean?
No, I bet it was financially lucrative. Obviously, No, but
I literally forgot what the fucking name was. Yeah.
Conor retired a bunch of times because he was in a pissing contest with Dana White and stuff, and it was fine. And then we see other guys that have retired from MMA and unretired. Lesnar has retired and come out of retirement. Now he did it for health reasons, diverticulitis. He did it for WWE.
He came out of retirement to juice out his mind, destroy Mark Hunt, and then Mark Hunt spent his entire life savings fighting the UFC and losing.
And he lost.
Anyway, so for the Crock or Not piece, going down the list, Ryan Garcia is not retired.
No.
He's suspended. He'll be fighting immediately following that suspension.
Correct, yes.
Devin Haney was retired for 30 seconds, and now he's undefeated again.
Correct.
So he's like immediately. It's like losing an election.
Teo's was interesting because Teo was psychological. So Teo at one point, having lost a fight, they had that commentary in the corner, and it was such a really.
Oh, he's like, do I have it anymore?
It was like a fucked up moment because. A lot of times when you get those NFL mic'd ups, they know they're mic'd up and shit, and they'll say stuff for effect. Those guys are hardcore. I'm not putting down football players. What I'm saying is, you act a certain way. Even I act a certain way when I know I have 3 cameras on me and a microphone talking to you, right? But when you get a guy in an emotional setting like a Teo, who's fighting, and then you catch him talking to someone like his dad in the corner and goes, "Do I still have it?
Do I still have it?" In a fight that he's winning.
Yeah, and then if you know the psychology that comes with combat sports and fighters, that's such a real statement, because I've heard people say that, and I've heard people say it when they're good and they're winning. And when I say that, I mean something of that ilk, like, and I've heard them say it especially in losses. And a lot of times when they say it, they don't have it. So, and he's come back and he looks fucking unbelievable.
A lot of times they don't.
A lot of times they don't. But when he said it and when he did retire, it was because it was when he was questioning his own abilities.
Yeah.
So Ryan Garcia is not in that camp right now.
Yep.
He's in a completely unrelated camp. So of all those people that are retiring, unretiring, snip, snap, I do think a lot of what you're saying is true in the sense that sometimes they could use it for leverage. Other times it's like a Teo where, he's retiring because he's no longer.
If he lost emphatically in his next fight,
yeah,
that's it.
He would have
hung out up. Yeah. Like his was the only one that seemed genuine and for the right reason. So
totally.
Like, if the sport has passed me, it's time to fucking hang it up.
I mean, think of how uncommon it is for athletes to retire at the right time. So I was actually talking to one of our boxers about this, and I feel like whenever you retire, from a resume standpoint, you're almost always exactly one fight too late or one fight too early.
Yep.
Right? Because like a guy I look at that kind of did it right, would be like a Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
Right? But everyone's like, why the fuck didn't you fight Leonard again?
And they're like, he looked like the reason he fought Leonard, or the reason Leonard like saw him, is he looked like he lost a step in the Mugabe fight.
The Mugabe fight, and even the Durant fight.
Yeah.
Durant, was blown up. It was a majority decision, even though it really shouldn't have been. I thought he clearly beat him, but it's really competitive.
If it wasn't for the Michael Bisping fight, I would have said GSP.
George St. Pierre, I was gonna say he's the I think
I
the
know
perfect
he
example
beat
of a
Bisping.
guy. I think he's the perfect guy because he retired, right? What would appear too early, comes out of retirement to fight for the middleweight title, move up a weight class to fight a guy that you and I both know, even though he's a badass, is a perceived lesser champion.
Yep.
Beats him and retires again. Fucking perfect.
What about Nurmagomedov? I might have hit it on the second try, guys. I might have got that.
Habib Nurmagomedov.
Mine was better than yours.
Nurmagomedov? Nurmagomedov?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I butchered it, but point being is this: he might have been. He's pretty close to perfect.
But so
a guy that specializes in personality, not pragmatics. Nurmagomedov doesn't exactly roll off the fucking tongue, by the way. What?
Nurma.
What am I saying?
Nurga.
Is there not a G in there?
It is eventually Nurmagomedov, right?
Nurmagomedov.
Rob, can we? It's not
Jesus
Nurga.
Christ, dude. Nurmagomedov.
Nurma.
I think I'm saying Nurma.
Anyway, you're saying Nurga.
Well, he has a K and his name's Habib, so figure that one out.
Yeah,
but anyways, point being is this. I think he did it right, too.
All right, so the four of them not retiring.
They are not retiring. That's a crock of bullshit, which will segue brilliantly into Tainted Meat. Leave Devin Haney the fuck alone. Why is the narrative that Devin Haney's the bad guy?
I know, and so yes, I'm not even trying to play devil's advocate. So
because I'll legitimately be pissed.
Yeah, so Ryan Garcia is suspended for a year for Osterine.
Retired.
Yeah, a year for first offense is actually pretty big, I think.
Okay,
and I understand
it is huge.
It's retroactive, so it's from the fight. So in a normal camp, he's probably not fighting for another 8 months anyway. So it's not a crazy suspension, but you don't see that right out the gate. Which means he's fucking guilty. Like he's like that's not a tainted supplement.
Guilty.
He clearly was juicing, or taking SARMs, whatever you want to call him. So, here's the problem. So immediately everyone's like, "Hey, Devin Haney's a bitch. This guy fucking sucks." And then they overturn it, and they're like, "Devin Haney still fucking sucks."
Dude,
and it's like,
so Ryan Garcia can miss weight by 4 pounds. Can juice to the gills. He beats the shit out of Devin Haney, by the way. I didn't bet on this fight. I know this feels like I bet on this fight. I swear I didn't bet on this fight. I considered it.
I would have leaned Haney, though.
I would have leaned Haney, too.
Okay,
but it doesn't matter. Moot point.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia beats the shit out of Haney. He misses weight. By the way, 4 pounds is an astronomical unit.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Astronomical unit. When we're talking about weight at
the pro level with the 24-hour rehydration period.
That's a huge amount of weight.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, you tested so positively for a performance-enhancing drug that you didn't know what it was, and then
check the B sample.
Then you like know exactly what it was to the point that you're like, it would make me lose weight. and then they check the B sample, and it's so egregious they suspend you for a year. And then the commentary was this. Well, fucking Devin Haney sucks. Ryan Garcia beat the shit out of him anyways. What?
So here's the problem.
What?
Is like Devin did himself no favors leading up to the fight. He just seemed like a fucking crybaby the entire way up to it. And they're like, oh, he missed by 4 pounds, 3 pounds. What was it? 3 pounds? What did he hold up?
Was it 3? Maybe it was 3.
Yeah, so he missed by 3 pounds, but it's like, okay, well, then you signed the fucking contract. So you got paid. You got paid $500,000 per pound. And then you pissed down your fucking leg and you got dropped like a sack of shit over and over again. Like, what do you want from him?
I just
Why did he lose that fight?
Devin Haney is
Why did he lose
so
that fight?
unlikable.
Why did he lose the fight?
Because Ryan Garcia was 3 pounds overweight and he was used to the
No,
gills.
because Ryan Garcia was
That's
a
what I
million
love
times
about
better.
that.
And
So-
Devin Haney's like, this guy's crazy. I'm going to walk through him.
That is such a universally bad take. Now listen,
I'm not blaming
unpack
Devin
what
Haney.
I just said.
Yeah.
Unpack what I just said. It's universally bad. The entire world. Go online, go on Facebook, and everyone's like, fucking Devin Haney stinks, right?
How is this a universally bad take then?
Because it is bad, because Ryan Garcia cheated every which way and beat Devin Haney, but Devin Haney's just boring and annoying, dude. So
But
look
that's
at your
it.
face.
No,
No, that's
my
horrible,
thing is like,
dude. That's
I don't
a bad
hate
take.
Devin
That's what
Haney.
I'm saying, dude.
I don't hate Devin Haney.
Yes, you do.
I
You
don't
have the floor.
hate Devin Haney because of the Ryan Garcia fight. I hate Devin Haney because he fucking is a nerd.
Yeah,
who
dude,
is
that
super
sucks.
boring, got fucking beat like a drum over and over, and just like his poopy pants face.
Mark,
Every time he got
that
sat
is-
down, he's like,
that is so bad.
Every
I
single
I
time.
hate Bill Haney.
Yeah,
There
see,
you go.
No, Rob, no, you're part of the problem too, Rob, because you're laughing back there, and I know the same thing, because you feel like Mark. So you hate his dad, Rob. You listen. There's 3 mics to this show. I know the toe-to-toe fight show with Mark and Matt Nolan. Rob has a mic. Rob, you are a camp. Ryan Garcia beat the shit out of him. You don't
So
care that
hold
he's
on
on
a second.
steroids. No, you hold on a second, Rob. Right now,
I'm not a boxing coach, nor have I ever been a boxer. I've
Doesn't
not jumped
matter.
in the ring, but it kind of seems like I don't know. I also think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, so do I, because he crushed dingers, dude. But
Right.
no, yeah, but I don't know, dude.
I am a self-proclaimed Marty Usman fan. I am a Bilal Muhammad fan.
That's horrible. 0 for 2.
Magomedov is like my dude.
I love Magomedov. He's a striking daggy.
So
I love it.
It's not like I
Striking
don't.
Daggies is the name of my new ska band.
That's good. So
Striking Daggies.
it's not that I don't like all boring fighters that everybody else hates. I just Haney fucking sucks, and he's a poopy pants bitch.
I like
and
that you use that as almost a way to dignify and objectively find a means to allow for
I'm gonna retire. He was so heavy, Dad. Yeah,
just like
no,
that.
fuck this
He
guy.
just
I don't care at all.
takes
Dork.
performance enhancing drugs, just misses weight
Oh,
crazy.
he's on steroids. I can't beat him.
But also, he's like, I'm banging everyone's wives. I'm just doing drugs.
Don't have
I'm
hot
just-
wives that fucking
Wow,
Ryan Garcia
dude,
wants to
that's
fucking start a
crazy.
harem with.
So tainted
Remember, I
meat.
kept on thinking it was his mom.
That's horrible, Mark.
Guys, if one of your fighters
Yes.
fought a fighter that was juiced up, how would you guys feel?
So
Dude,
my,
dude, I bet we're gonna agree on this. I'd be more pissed about the weight missing. If people miss weight, no, do we not agree?
so Rob's question is: so would you be pissed off at the opponent missing weight more than the opponent juicing?
If an opponent misses weight, I go fucking ballistic, dude. I go crazy.
if one of our guys, well, I don't want to fucking. So we're only talking in hypotheticals. So say our guy, is fighting a dude who's popped before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sending him to the pharmacy before that fucking fight. Immediately, we're going fucking tit for
I'll
tat
tell
on
you
that
this,
shit.
though,
You
dude.
kidding
so
me?
we've always been camp no PEDs, and I'll tell you why. So no, this is true. So the biggest reason is this.
The Bass Rutten dude.
So what is it?
Bass Rutten said he loved. So in the Pancrase days, he's like, all these guys were fucking juiced out of their minds. First of all, I think Bass was probably fucking juiced
Sure.
too. But he's like, when I knew they were taking roids, when they were all in gear, I felt like I had a leg up. I'm like, you need it.
Dude,
I already psychologically have a step
something like
up
that.
on you.
So Rob, at the amateur level, they don't test for steroids, right? So they make you take like an attestation form, like what drugs are you on, and technically even like you can't take steroids even for like
Inhalers and stuff.
yeah, even like for in like hormonal
Advair,
reasons, you
yeah.
can't take steroids at all, even testosterone and shit, right? So, but we've had guys that have suggested like taking steroids, but all the guys that suggest, they always suck. Dude.
Yeah,
When I say suck, they're like they have the shittiest work ethics.
That's
like,
the big thing.
They're always the guys that suck. So the guys that are always in the gym and like working hard, none of our dudes that like work hard ever allude to that.
Yeah,
shit.
at the amateur level, especially at like our guys, our guys, the ones that work hard are working their ass off. But like anybody who would be looking into taking those are soft
they're like shortcut dudes. That's the thing. They're like always the shortcut dudes.
And they don't.
Always,
so like
always,
a lot of
always
times,
the shortcut
and
dudes.
we've fought against guys that I wasn't fucking dusting for fingerprints. It wasn't like a Scooby-Doo mystery.
You know immediately.
But you know what a guy is taken before they step into the fucking ring, and often they're hot fucking garbage. I understand at the highest level of the sport it is different. But yeah, like if we found out like one of our guys fought somebody who was all geared up and our guy lost, I would say there's a 99% chance they didn't lose because of the
steroids.
gear.
Yeah, I know.
So what you're saying is Devin Haney didn't lose because of the fucking steroids.
Yeah, probably. But maybe
got him.
But I'd be pissed about the weight. I honestly, genuinely be more pissed about the weight. I really would. I'd be way more pissed about the weight.
We always get upset with our guys. We're like, oh, I get like a 2 pound allowance so I can come in at like, it's like, no, it's a 2 pound allowance, dickhead. Like that's come in on weight. And if you miscalculate, you have a little wiggle room.
Yeah. And the steroid stuff, like guys at IGN, we like, even like the guys that like we're telling guys like, don't take creatine. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and I'm not like super old school. Like, I don't really.
You gotta drink milk.
Yeah,
and
I'm not
take
like
salt pills.
I'm not like drink raw eggs and shit. But
Jack LaLanne.
But no, a lot of times
push-ups.
the guys that are like super interested in the PED stuff tend to be the guys. They're all shortcut guys, and we're like not big into that shit, man.
So Garcia and Haney in a vacuum, no roids for either of them.
Yeah,
who's the better fighter?
Well, I think we
as
saw the
Kanye
answer
West
to that.
would say, "I guess we'll never know."
You don't think they're immediately gonna rematch after the fucking?
Yeah, they should. So just keep in mind right now, Devin Haney is undefeated. So that is something that we should honestly talk about. So the biggest repercussions to me is BoxRec, the fact that it's no contest, no decision. So Ryan Garcia gets fined. Okay, he has infinite money. Who gives a shit? He gets suspended. Doesn't really matter because he would have taken, whatever. If say it's 6 to 8 months, now it's 8 months to 11 months. Who gives a shit? It's really a moot point again because whether or not he could fight in, Dubai or something like that, really even then, he's fighting once a year, once every 9 months at most. So the suspension is really just, in name alone. It's really the fact that he loses that fight on his record. So, but it does make...
But we know.
It actually makes the rematch more palpable. Would you be all right? Would you be interested in the rematch if they were to fight now?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh no, now. Yeah.
Previously, not at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but here's the thing. So you want to bet the farm? 1, they're gonna fucking rematch. 2, Ryan's gonna miss weight. 3, Ryan's gonna be juiced out of his fucking mind.
So here's the thing. I wouldn't touch
again.
that.
I
as
always
far
said
as
this
bets,
like
just to be clear, because sometimes it does get hairy when they do like no contest and shit. You got to start talking to your bookies. Or your online DraftKings fan duels. So I don't know how you navigate that shit.
I wasn't actually saying like, no, the fucking.
Do you get the money back?
You get the money back.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I don't use that fucking nerdy shit. But you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, that's how you have it. So he's on juice. He's allowed to because Devin Haney's boring. Congratulations, everybody.
Facts. Huge shout out again to our good friend and sponsor, Shadow Fight Goods. We love their gear. You're going to love their gear too. They gave us a very special code just for our listeners. It's TTFS24. Check out their store. You're going to love their stuff. All right, cool. So Mark Nolan here, Matt Nolan with Mr. Owen Roddy. Owen, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Good. It's been a long week. We're gearing up to host our first pro event, and there's a lot of red tape and a lot of hoops to jump through, and we'll be happy when we're done jumping. If we're being honest.
Yeah. You're getting into the promotion game, yeah?
We are, and we might get right the fuck out of the promotion game if this is what we have to look forward to, my man. Oh my god, dude.
Listen. I've had my fair share of promoting as well. It's a tough game. I've got a college MMA league over in the US called Nuka MMA. We set up in 2021, just before COVID. So we done our first event in February, and in March COVID kicked in, and we had to shut down for about 3 years. But we recently relaunched. So yeah, promoting is a tough game, man. There's a lot of red tape.
Yeah, when you check
and
every
you
box, there's always like 3 more boxes to check when you're done checking every box. So
I love it. It's great.
We're super familiar with your recent work, and maybe since the last 10, 15 years. Can you give us a little idea of like how you came into the sport of MMA? Kind of take us through the early years and how you got to this point.
Yeah, of course. So back in Dublin, it was like the Wild West. The MMA was when I started. I started about 22 years ago. So I think we were at UFC 5 or something like that. Very, very early days. There was nobody in Ireland doing MMA. The highest belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner was my coach, John Kavanagh, who I believe was at a blue belt when I started with him. So it was the very, very early days. I fell in love with mixed. I was into mixed martial arts. I was into martial arts, should I say, all my life. You know, my brother was a traditional martial artist. He was a brown belt in Shotokan karate. And I grew up in the 80s, so I watched, every Van Damme movie that you can think of, and I was out the back trying to throw spinning kicks and all of that stuff. But I first got into I got interested in mixed martial arts when I seen UFC 1. Somebody gave me a lend of UFC 1 on VHS. I watched it, and I was shocked. I was like, this is real fighting. This is a small kid, Hoist Gracie, in a BJJ gi going in against these big, tough-looking guys and submitting them unconscious. And when I seen that, I had to go find it. Over here in Ireland, used to have adverts in the back of the paper. So I went through the adverts and I was looking for, street fighting or no holds barred fighting or Valley Tudo or, all of these. I tried a couple of classes and it wasn't that. And then just by chance, I found my coach, John Kavanagh, a friend of mine, Dave Roach, who lived up in Ballymun where I grew up. He was known for street fighting and he was a good fighter. I reached out to him and he introduced me to John Kavanagh, and the rest is history. I started training. Crazy. Within a year, I had my first professional fight. There was no amateur scene.
Yep.
So you learned a little bit of fighting. You threw yourself in. I fought for many years. I fought for about 12, 13 years, and then I retired when I was 40 due to a couple of injuries, and then I became a coach. And it's crazy time, but very, very enjoyable.
Yeah, so it's funny. So it was back in the NHB days before they called it, MMA. Matt and I, we first got into it. We saw, so my buddy had the same idea, had a bunch of VHS tapes, but we saw UFC 4 live, and Dan Severn is fucking this huge Greco wrestler on top of Hoist. I didn't know what a triangle choke was.
Yeah, we're like, he's kicking his ass.
And then
we're like, look at this guy
he's on top. He's winning. And then he starts tapping out. We're like, what the fuck did we just see? What the hell was that? And you start like really putting the pieces together of like, oh, this is a different world. So that's very cool. So like when you were fighting, like you said, like there wasn't really an MMA scene, especially not in Ireland or in these smaller pockets of fight communities. Did you start training? So back in the day, it was like a boxer started to wrestle and take BJJ, or like a Sambo guy would cross train. Did you just come into MMA? Like, did you start training MMA to start out the gate, or did you have kind of like a background and you kind of deviated from there?
No, I had no background. So we started MMA, but it was predominantly grappling because at the time grappling was what was winning everything, Yeah. But it was crazy. Like we used to. My friend Dave, like anybody in Ireland would know Dave Roach, like he's just a tough motherfucker, like, But he used to bring me down to his shed, and he'd fish hook me against the wall and he'd punch me in the face. This is what you do if you get in the street fighter. You do, and I'd be busted up, cuts, broken nose, and I'd be going home, to my mom like, this is fucking amazing. I love it. No, so it was crazy, but John Kavanagh was, he kind of he fell in love with the jiu-jitsu straight away. He'd done traditional martial arts for many years as well, but I think he was walking off maybe an instructional that he found or something somewhere along the line, and he was laying in some basic submissions, and that's what we started doing.
Yeah.
John was a phenomenal coach.
I was gonna say Kavanaugh.
I
was gonna say he's clearly obviously most well known for working with Connor. So somewhere along the line, you too were in Connor's camp, right? Like you were featured on The Ultimate Fighter within his camp. What was like your roles within like that camp? What did that look like?
Yeah, so obviously John, I fought under John for many years before Connor, came onto the scene. So I'd have been, fighting at a really high level in Europe and stuff like that. I won titles and stuff like that. And then Connor and the kind of next generation of fighters came through afterwards. And it was as I was slowing down, I was starting to, come more into a coaching role. I was taking the striking classes for John. I'd done a lot of Thai boxing and boxing and stuff like that. Through my career, trying to pick up as much as I could over the years. But I started taking the striking classes for John. I'm a southpaw. Connor's a southpaw. So when he came in, I started doing pads for him, and we started to develop. Well, I'm a southpaw. This works for me. What do you think of that? And the relationship grew from there. And I started doing the corner with John through his career, and it just grew continuously. But I've been in Connor's corner for many, many years. Like I've done probably 80% of his corners from fighting in Crumlin in a little GAA hall to him fighting for the 2 Cage Warriors belts, to fighting in the UFC and fighting fighting Mayweather. I've been there from the beginning, and Jesus, what a crazy journey it was,
I can imagine. Now you say it too. You said you saw it develop from the earliest days to the biggest stages. So you have kind of your own gym now with SGB, like a separate entity where you have your own own program. Do you have like the next generation that you have, the guys that you're excited about coming through the ranks, the European ranks, that you like some standout guys?
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yep. So I've got my own gym. So I was working for John for many years. I ran his youth program. I ran his striking program for many, many years. But I was spreading myself very thin. I ended up having my own gym at the time, a small gym. So I was working every day in John's and driving across the city, teaching my own guys. Then Saturdays and Sundays I was working, doing PTs and stuff. So I was flat out. And it just got to the stage where I just couldn't maintain that level. I couldn't just keep doing that 7 days a week for many years. I says, look, John, I'm gonna set up my own gym. He says, I'm delighted for you. He gave me his blessing, and I set up SBG Charlestown, which is like a franchise of the SBG and the SBG gym. I've got some really, really good guys. I'm literally just back from a grappling tournament with one of my really high level professionals. He's with the PFL, Andreas Binder.
Nice.
Young kid, 26 years of age, and he's 9-1, I think, at the moment. Just signed to the PFL, so hoping to get him a fight soon on the PFL. Then we've got some young pros. Max Lally, who's a really, really high level fighter. He's a amateur world champion. He's 2-0 as a pro now. He's going to fight his 3rd fight in 4 weeks' time. And then I've got some really good amateurs that are getting ready to turn pro. So yeah, I'm really excited about my young guys, young amateur world champions, looking to turn pro soon. So I'm excited to see where it can take them,
Nice. So aside from your coaching, your training, we've been looking into Shadow Fight Goods, and we had Raph on the show. We put out a promo code to our listeners, and at our gym, within a week, like every kid has a pair of the Shadow Fight Goods. How did you get into the manufacturer. I'll tell you one of the things I should mention: the Panda colorway, the black and white,
most popular shit of all time.
Everyone's buying that. So whoever came up with that,
whoever fucking came, I don't know if it was you, Raph, whoever came up with that. Every motherfucker at the gym's got one black and one white. I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, they sell them in Panda. So whoever did that, brilliant marketing. So, but yeah, how did you get into that? I actually
can't remember. I think I'll just take the credit for that one. But I don't actually remember. Raph the mad. I call Raph the mad scientist. So yeah, the way it worked was I recently retired from MMA and through injuries and stuff like that, and I started to think about what I could do to improve what was on the market. I've had both my knees are jacked. I have a head injury. I have had shoulder injuries. I've had every injury you can think of. I've seen all the flaws in the equipment that's currently out on the market, and I had this idea of designing the first ever mixed martial arts headgear. Now we're still in the prototype phase, but myself and Raph, we ended up meeting each other in Vegas. So a good buddy of mine, Tom Egan, one of my training partners from back in the day, I told him, I said, look, I'm designing a headgear. I want to get into the equipment game and design specific MMA equipment. At the moment, even to this day, everything we use is, we take it from boxing. We took the headgear from boxing and kickboxing. We took shin pads from kickboxing. We take just the regular boxing gloves from boxing and stuff. But apart from the MMA glove and the amateur glove, which are pretty flawed as well, there's nothing specific to MMA. And MMA is 30 years old, so we're still at the beginning. So he says, well, Owen, I've got this designer he trains at Peter Welch's. He loves combat sports. He's designing headgear for the Navy SEALs. So myself and Raph got in contact, and we started talking. And I was like, Raph, this is what I want to do. And he says, well, this is what I want to do. So I said, look, will we just do it together? And we did. We set Shadow up a couple of years ago. And, the rest is history. But I'm very excited about Shadow. Shadow's my, that's my real love now. And as I eventually slow down with coaching, and, I can't be doing corners when I'm 60 and stuff like that. And when I'm 55, all the traveling, I've done it for many years. So eventually I hope to hand the club to my students, and then really focus on Shadow and just improve the equipment that's available for our fighters. I don't want all our new next generation of fighters having the same injuries that I had, and it can be preventable. It's just looking at the problem, coming up with a solution, and getting it out there. It's easy for me to say, I think of the problem, then I say, Raph, you have to come up with a solution.
Yeah, so
and
it's
then
funny.
I just walk up and come up with
Matt put on the gloves, and immediately he's like, dude, these are unbelievable. But I kind of geek out and nerd over different shit, and I'm like, I picked up, I'm like, the thumb placement just being like tucked in, the angled grip bar.
And God forbid I just like good gloves. You know what I mean? But
we talk about
this looks good, feels good.
That's what I
Must
mean.
be
I
good.
just want to fucking light people up with them. They're just nice gloves, But yeah, so.
But yeah, they're genuinely innovative. They're really cool, and the feedback we're getting from our guys is that they're pretty much the best gloves they've ever put on.
I mean, they really
the
feedback
hats
has
off
genuinely
to you guys.
been universally incredible.
Yeah, so one of the common issues, obviously, in boxing and sparring and MMA and stuff like that is jarring your thumb. We've all been there. Once you jar your thumb, you seem to jar it on everything. You walk into the kitchen, you jar it at the fridge. You walk into the toilet, you jar it on the door. It's like, what the fuck?
Yep.
But when the thumb is exposed like that, it's out there, and then you get the Bennett's fracture. And I've had some boys in the gym that's had a fracture. I've jarred my thumb millions of times. So the idea of bringing the stitching in and pulling the thumb in a little bit closer to make a more natural fist is a phenomenal aspect for the glove. Then the angle grip bar, so that you can make a more natural fist as well, and not have your thumb, your little pinky sticking out there, and you're catching with the bottom knuckles and fracturing the outside of your hand. So yeah, they're just simple improvements. But what tends to happen is these bigger companies, they look at, okay, there's a glove, looks good, let's do the same glove, but, change the colours on it. And myself and Raph sat down and says, look, whatever we put out, let's try our best to improve on what's there. Even if it's one feature, like the gloves, we made sure that there's 2 inches of foam between your knuckle and the point of impact, because I wore all sorts of gloves. I wore the Cletos, the puncher's glove, and there's very little protection. Yeah, it's great. It hurts your teammate, or if you're fighting, it hurts your opponent. But yeah, we want to protect the hands. We don't want to break our hands. I've seen so many breaks, and that's just from laziness. So the 2 inches of foam, the angle grip bar, the lace converter. Just everybody should be wearing a lace-up glove, but if people keep coming into me at the start of class with bleeding lace-up gloves and ask me I spent fucking 20 minutes doing all the guys' gloves, and then we get sparring. I'm like, fuck off, lads.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I said, the new guys, I say, fucking don't show up with lace gloves, you fuckers, because I'm not tying everyone's fucking gloves. But in reality, it's so much better for the health of the hand. It really is, So
yeah, it's safer because you know what? It pulls everything in tight, right up into the palm of your hand. So a lace-up glove is a better glove. It's a safer glove, but it's just not convenient for the coach.
Exactly.
So Raph obviously Raph's story about his teammate was a man he couldn't get the gloves off quick enough to fix somebody's nose, so he came up with the lace converter, which is so cool. But behind that funny story, the innovation, it's problem solving. There is a problem. It's not convenient to have lace-up gloves, but it's safer to have them. So we have the best of both worlds with you see, I got the bad boys here.
I see him.
One of the original players that we one of the original players that we doing there. So,
nice.
Yeah, very proud of the gloves, but that's not all that's coming. We've got big ideas for the MMA gloves. We've got our first MMA glove almost finished in regards to the design, and it will have some unique features that will solve some problems. Got some shin pads, MMA style shin pads that will solve some problems that the current MMA shin pads. Well, there is no MMA shin pad, but the current shin pads don't protect. So I'm very, very excited. I just wish we could get we could get our products out there a little bit quicker. But we're a young company, and we got to do things slowly in order to do it correctly.
Nice. It looks awesome. I appreciate it. In terms, some unrelated questions real quick. So Mark and I grow up in Boston, right? We are Nolans. How much time do you spend in the States?
I'm in the States almost every year, for a week or two or a couple of weeks. Multiple times per year now. I've been to the US, I think 3 times, 4 times in the last 6 to 7 months.
My question is, how obnoxious and annoying do you find fake Irishmen to be? The plastic patty things. Does it drive you crazy or no?
No. You know what? When you have Irish blood in you, it's a badge of honor. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's great. It's great to hear that. And I think obviously that was part of Conor's popularity was when he broke the States, when he went over to the States, and you got 55, 60 million Irish Americans all getting behind you. That's what helped him blow up. Apart from not only did he knock everybody out and talk the talk and walk the walk, but he brought the Irish behind them, and there's no better support.
We were always in the crowd in Boston, and everyone that was Irish or Irish by proxy was definitely Team Conor.
Yeah, we were there for the Seaver fight. We were there for the Holloway fight.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conor, so he's physically bigger now. What does he walk around at? He's fighting at 65 now, which is new. Yeah. Right? That's the new.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So what does he? Yeah. He looks absolutely massive. I mean, he's a mountain now. Yeah. What does he look like when it comes to like weight cuts and his walk around weight? What's different now?
Yeah, so he's all talking kilos. I don't really. I always mix up the pounds and kilos, but he was scheduled to fight at 77 kilo, I believe. but he wouldn't be much more than 84 kilo or something like that nowadays. But he's built up a lot of muscles, a lot of size. But he's still as fast as ever. Still got that fast twitch, but he's definitely bigger, stronger, and he definitely hits a little bit more powerful as well. And when he hit, the way he hit when he was down at featherweight and at lightweight, with a bit of extra muscle and a bit more speed that he has and a bit more explosiveness, he was hitting very hard as well. So yeah, he's looking big.
Do you still like the odds of the Chandler fight happening in the long run?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, he just announced what happened, and it's just very, very unfortunate. Camp was going phenomenal. It really was. He was enjoying himself. He was looking really sharp, really fast. It was exciting. We were all ready to go, and unfortunately, he got injured. But I'd like to think it'll happen. 40 years out. Yeah. Conor was very eager to go. He was trying his best. We can't get into details of what he was trying to do, but he really wanted this fight to happen. Even when he was injured, he was still holding off to see if he could actually do it, and he just couldn't. And as I said, he wants the best version of himself to come back, which is rightfully so. He's been out for a long time, and when you want to go back, you want to go in there and put on a performance. So he's going to do it right, which I think is very, very, very wise.
What do you say, Mark?
So so we saw the broken toe. Was it toe and leg? He mentioned something about a leg injury or something like his leg was wrapped up.
No. It, from what I believe, it was the toe.
Okay.
And he couldn't bear any weight on it or anything like that. And, we all want kind of bouncing around and pull countering and cracking and whipping up kicks all over the place. And if you can't move, then he's just going to go in and fight at a disadvantage. And he said this himself. He's fought at a disadvantage, and I've been there watching him fight at a disadvantage. And there's no need for him to do it now. He's he's done so much for the sport. He's done so much for the UFC. Now he's thinking of himself, and he wants to go in there and show people what he's capable of, and give the fans what they want. They want to see. The best McGregor they can see.
Totally fair and understandable. I couldn't agree more. And then last question, in order, 1, 2, and 3. Cranberries, Pogues, U2.
Ooh, I go. Oh Jesus, 1, 2, and 3. You have to go.
You gotta go in order.
That's a hard one. We gotta go in order. You know what? I'll go U2 because Bono was from just around the corner from where he grew up, so I'll have to stick with those Northsiders. Then I'll go Pogues because they're hardcore, and then I'll go Cranberries because they're legit as well. But I'd have them all. If I could sit down and listen to all three of them, it'd be a night well spent. You know what I mean? With a bit of Purple 12 and a forward sort of stout and a bit of the U2, Cranberries.
I love it.
That's a nice night, yeah.
I love it. Fair play.
Flogging Molly all the way from
Get flogging Molly. Get the fuck out of here, Rob. He's out. Rob's out.
Tin Lizzy.
Rob's out. Owen Roddy, thank you so much for your time. Absolute pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, my friend.
Great to be on, guys. I wish you all the best with the podcast. Wish you all the best in your new venture. Hopefully I'll get over to Boston and see one of your boxing events.
Yes, we'll have tickets for you anytime, my friend.
100%. All right, guys. Appreciate it. All the best. Cheers.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. Owen Roddy went U2 number 1. I would maybe go U2 number 1. Just because
Octung Baby's like your favorite album of all time.
That's why.
How is that a maybe, dude?
Well, because the Pogues are kind of more badass.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, how can you guys disrespect Flogging Molly? I fucking hate you.
I know. U2's polarizing.
She won't limit, only in the daylight.
I as a guitar player, I just could never get behind the edge and his fucking 4 stories of foot pedals. He's
He's a guitar technician. He's not a player.
That's right. Owen Roddy is
the greatest dude of all time.
I thought he'd be interesting.
Yeah.
He was way more interesting than I thought.
You know when you have like when somebody has like a cool older brother, Dave's older brother, so cool. That's like Owen Roddy.
Sometimes the way I look, the way I talk to Owen Roddy and leave the conversation, I pretend people leave conversations after they talk to me.
Yeah.
Like that fucking Matt dude. Wow, wasn't he so cool? Owen Roddy, that guy is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully, after Connor fights Chandler, he was confident in it. I'm confident because he is. I would love to have him back on.
Yeah.
Next time he's in town, and it sounds like he actually is in the States pretty regularly. It'd be awesome to get him to one of our shows, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
and I know we talk about Shadow Fight Codes all the time. It's I'm not just saying it. Like you got to try their stuff. Get somebody to buy.
Whether you're
pair.
pragmatic or just full of personality,
Beep, boop.
they do feel awesome in
Yeah.
your hands. So yeah, fucking Owen Roddy's the balls. Yeah. All right, everybody, we don't ask for much, so I'm going to ask you right now. Please like and subscribe to the best podcast in fight history, the Toe to Toe Fight Show, featuring Matt and Mark Nolan. Personality and pragmatics coming to you every week on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Play. Bet the farm. Bet the farm. So we got a couple bet the farms.
Yeah,
we
I
got
got a
two
couple I
bets
like.
that I like to look at. Now they're a little bit down the road. Actually, no. July 20th. No,
Yeah.
so it is a little bit down the road. And then the UFC 303. So let's look at. Want to look at 303 first?
Yeah, we'll start with 303.
All right. So we got Yuri Prochazka and Poatan. So because everyone loves my pronunciation, I'll start with Yuri Prochazka and Poatan. So what is interesting about this fight? It is a rematch. What I don't care for this is they're not giving my man Magomed Ankalaev, because I'm just ripping off every name I can pronounce now, any respect. Magomed Ankalaev should be fighting for the title, but that's another segment for another day. But they are deciding to pursue the Yuri Poatan rematch, and the reason they're pursuing it is because of the Chandler and McGregor fight falling through. So what do I like about this fight? I like a lot of things about it. Number one, Yuri just came off that incredible knockout win over Rachik.
And Rachik was in that thing. I mean, he was dominating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Yuri is an interesting dude in the sense that he identifies as a samurai, which is a fucking weird thing, right? Being like a Northern European guy.
Just so we don't get canceled, I just want to apologize for all samurai folk out there.
Yeah, any of our samurais, so Yuri identifies as samurai. Yuri likes to punch people in the face really hard.
And he's like, defense? Nah.
Defense is for pussies.
Yeah.
He puts his hands right here and just throws grenades and eats bombs. So, but he has one-touch knockout power and a chin that's somewhat questionable.
Yep.
I think he actually has a decent chin. He just gets hit so often. His recovery is pretty good. When they first fought, Poatan knocked him out.
Yep.
Now, Poatan, Alex Pereira, has incredible knockout power, otherworldly knockout power.
But does have some defensive liabilities as well.
Yes, but so he just knocked out Jamal Hill.
Yep.
And gave him one of these, which is
Yeah.
like one of the greatest things ever. So Jamal Hill, in my opinion, not an all-time. He
Only one of them needed oxygen, Matt. Did you see that? Jamal Hill talking shit
Jamal
after
Hill's
getting
not
knocked out. Not super smart.
No,
dude.
you talked about Devin Haney not being super light. Well, Jamal Hill wasn't super light, but it doesn't matter. So they both coming off fucking massive knockouts, right? The first fight, although it did end in knockout, and Yuri after the fact said, "Good stoppage. I didn't have my faculties about me." I felt it was pretty
A
early.
little quick, yeah.
And now, when I say that, I'm not like egregious, horrible, dirty stoppage, right? Where am I going with this? Between the two of them, they have a lot of fights. So Poatan has 12. Yuri has considerably more. They have never gone to a 5-round decision between the two of them, ever. So I think Poatan has 2 decisions on his ledger. Yuri, I think, has 1 decision win and 1 draw. Okay? In like 30-somewhat fights. The line, it looks like, for the under the decision.
Like minus 450-ish.
Something like that. Now, again, I think when a lot of people look at lines like that, they get scared off, right? And everyone wants a great line. And if you listen to like a lot of these prolific betting shows,
Like us.
I listen to some sports gambling shows as a degenerate. Again, I don't consume alcohol and I don't do drugs anymore. And I do like vices, and one vice that I really enjoy outside of the caffeine provided by Red Bull is gambling. And so I do listen to sports podcasts, and they're always looking for like the best fucking dog, the best fucking line. And sometimes you do get that, like the Fedora fights, and you do catch lightning in a bottle. But other times it's like just get a good line on a good bet, and that's what you're looking at here. The odds of this going the distance. And when I say odds, I mean conversational odds.
Yeah, at minus 450, again, that seems like a long line, but it's free money. Like, it's not
these
going
guys
the distance.
are just absolute dynamite. So we got Alex Pereira by KO TKO. Looks like plus 110. Is that right, Rob? Mark and I are both horribly blind, by the way. Oh, yeah, plus 110. Yuri by KO TKO plus 270. All right, so it says Yuri by submission is plus 1,200. Pereira by submission plus 1,600.
Yeah, scroll a little bit more down.
How about round props up the top? Yeah, round props. There we go. Over under total rounds. So let's say that can't be over 1.5.
Guys, like and subscribe. I gotta get glasses.
Does that say over 1.5 rounds minus 196? That can't be right. Go to round props again.
Is that for real? Rob, what is the over? Over 1.5. Does that say minus what?
196.
That's impossible. If that's it, that's the best odds I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, listen, this is going over. I'm sorry, under. Sorry, no, that's why. My bad. Yeah. Whoa! I panicked for a second. No, that is that is wild.
Hey kids, you're not going to college because Dad just listened to Uncle Matt on the Benton show.
So again, let's rewind and say again, this is not financial advice. This is all just conversational
Unless
stuff.
you want free money.
So yeah, so listen, just take it inside the distance.
Yeah,
a lot of times when you're
the
looking at us and your books, see, just look for inside the distance. If you can get it, it looks like the over under is a round and a half.
Yeah, and I don't want to touch that because I mean that's actually a pretty good line.
That's a good line. So just try to look for inside the distance.
And if it's inside the distance around minus 450, if you don't want to take it solo, just add it as a parlay builder. I'll tell you that the line is pretty reasonable between them.
Yeah.
But I saw on either FanDuel, one of the big ones, 83% of the bets are going to Pereira, which is funny because it's a dangerous fight. Like I think Pereira is going to win that fight. I'm not going to touch that because, again, it's that Prochazka kind of X factor of he has that death touch, but hates defense. So
I also think if you look at them really, right, objectively, right, and it is hard, and I get a lot of blowback from some of our friends thinking that I'm a Pereira hater, but I'm not. Pereira's resume is thinner than it appears. So he has the violent knockout of Izzy, and he's defeated multiple times in kickboxing. But he did get knocked out by Izzy in MMA.
Yep.
From there, right, his resume isn't great. Like the Jan Blachowicz, I shouldn't have tried. The Jan fight,
Polish power.
I didn't think he won that fight. And then he like knocked out like Jamal Hill and shit. You know, like I don't know, it's like kind of bum of the month club shit. And the Yuri fight was a little bit early, whereas Yuri's resume is arguably as good, and he hits just as hard. Maybe not just as hard, but close.
I don't know that
he hits
elbow
hard
on
enough.
Dominic Reyes
was fucking wild, dude. You know what I mean? So I don't hate Yuri in that fight. And then as far as another bet, just to keep an eye on too, is that Logan Paul Mike Perry fight, which is coming. Jake Paul. Sorry, God forbid. Sorry, the other Paul, by the way. Jake Paul, Mike Perry. I do like this fight. I do like Jake Paul once again. The line is as competitive as you'd imagine. Jake Paul is the favorite. He's not a monster favorite. I wouldn't take props and stoppages for that.
You know what? I'll give you the lock of the week. I think give me a two leg parlay.
Yeah.
Give me Pereira, Prochazka inside the distance, and Jake Paul money line.
I love it.
That's the bet.
Perfect.
Lock it in, and it's free money.
So again, we're talking Yuri and
bet
Pereira.
Everything you have.
Yes. So again,
bet
this is not financial advice, right?
Unless you want a lot of money.
Yes.
In which case, I don't know.
But I feel like a lot of these altcoins are going to take off. No, I'm just kidding. So no.
Please bet
So
responsibly.
Yes, exactly. Please bet responsibly. So I would take Yuri and Poatan in the distance, and Jake Paul outright.
line, yeah.
Money line.
Yeah.
And if you parlay those, you're gonna get a pretty decent line on it. You're gonna get better odds, and it's gonna be two decent ones. What do you got for money line? Do we see it here at all? My vision's so poor. Yeah, minus 275. That's a good line, dude.
That's a great line.
That's a great line.
Again, Perry's a legit fighter who's substantially smaller, and again, they already moved around in 2021.
Yeah,
and I think Jake Paul has just gotten better, and Perry's been.
When they get in the ring together, people will realize just how much bigger Jake Paul is than Mike Perry, and how basic Mike Perry is in terms of like actual boxing. So that's a great lock. Free money. If you guys are interested in free money, not financial advice, and you guys just want an infinite sum of free money, please bet responsibly. Then you guys should take that parlay, 100%. And again, you're looking at a guy. Look at this Larry Legend here. Bang! I'm on a fucking heater, dude. And again, this is all this is on the internet forever. You guys can look back at this and say, like, you guys just blow up the comment section. Be like, hey, listen, assholes, you were wrong, but we were right.
Always.
You know? I actually texted Mark late last night, though. It was like, dude, quick, bet on fucking
Johnny Walker.
Against Ozdemir. Volkan Ozdemir. Good thing it was too late. Because Johnny Walker was already snoring.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about UFC on ABC 6?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that.
It rolls off the tongue, but how many people are watching? That's a weird thing about the UFC is it's like on everywhere now. I remember back in the day we used to wait 6 months.
Yeah.
And every card was fucking stacked. And it's not the product's still fantastic, which they have more talent now. But yeah, UFC
that card was sneaky good.
ABC 6 was not. It didn't seem like a fight night card.
No.
So you had Johnny Walker versus No Time. And
Johnny Walker is perfect, and I'll tell you why. There's an old expression that's been around boxing forever, and the term is glass cannon. And nobody embodies glass cannon more
than Johnny Walker.
Because Johnny Walker has incredible knockout power. Just like we said with Yuri and Poatan, the difference between Yuri and Poatan and Johnny Walker is Johnny Walker has negative chin.
Yeah.
And when he gets knocked out,
he gets electrocuted.
It is fucking
all the time.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it is balloon animal used car salesman knocked out. Jamal Hill knocked him out where he froze him in time. There's a great highlight if you guys ever want to go back and look up
the jungle fight.
Look up like Johnny Walker gets knocked out 3 times in one fight because he just keeps flopping around. It's so crazy. So he got knocked out so horrendously violently by perennial contender and gatekeeper Volkan Ozdemir. And Ozdemir's nickname is No Time, and he just points at his wrist,
which is like a badass thing.
It's kind of badass, dude.
But yeah, so he's knocks him dead. Does the whole like foldy.
Was
leg
Herb Dean the ref? Whoever was the ref
should go to jail.
Is an accessory to murder because they like waited for a second. And they're like, let's see if he kills him. And they're like, oh shit, he did. He killed him. I just watched the guy die. And he just like wound up, looked at the ref, was like, you sure you want me to do this? And the ref was like, fuck it, dude. Like, we're all here. Like, the people paid to watch a fucking dead body. And he's like, all right, man, I'm gonna fucking send it.
Like Johnny Walker he's everything you should want in the sports. Johnny Walker is the Masvidals, the Diaz's. He
got injured celebrating doing the worm. He blew out his shoulder. He was out for like a year.
He's the Justin Gaethje. He's never going to be in a boring fight for as long as he fights.
Correct.
You had Shara Bullet.
Shara Bullet is interesting. So when he first came on the scene, there's like a picture that it turns out is like kind of photoshopped. It's kind of edited. But he has like one eye, or he has a dead eye.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with one of his eyes, very clearly. Okay, we're talking like.
And he's like a ginger Dagestani, which is like a mythical beast in its own right.
There's so much about this guy that is confusing looking.
But we were sold.
He's
sold
very
wolf
Ice
tickets,
Spice,
as the Diaz brothers would say. Like he was supposed to be this.
I
Fucking
saw a highlight of him before he
came.
came out. Now, given he's fighting in places that like don't have established governments,
or running water. I mean,
correct.
It's like,
and he's just
no
like
knock, but it's like they're like
doing
mud
tornado
huts.
kicks and just decapitating people. So he comes to the UFC and you're like, oh, this guy kind of sucks. Actually, he has zero wrestling. He's from Dagestan.
Yeah.
And he's the one Daggy that they're like, and they're like, no one told him that all we do is wrestle bears all day. So last night he has an awesome knockout.
Look good
after holding the cage. So who slips into his DMs immediately? Did you see?
No.
Bo Nickel was like, give me that guy.
Yeah.
Right. Bo Nickel's kind of a dick. Completely unproven, but man, is he marketable. So when I say unproven in MMA, he's a god in wrestling.
Accolades
again, kind of an asshole, but he's at least putting himself out there. That's a perfect fight for him because the Dagestani kid, the Shara Bullet kid, is terrifying looking. Like he looks like a monster.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like a monster is like a monster athlete. Like he looks like a Tim Burton character from like Edward Scissorhands. He's terrifying looking. He's just like if you're in a supermarket.
The only character in Edward Scissorhands was Vincent Price playing Vincent Price.
Well, great. Now
And
anyone that
Edward
didn't see
Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands knows
Look at
fucking. So all right, how about one of the ice monsters from Cabin Boy? All right. So anyways, I was making a reference that fell in its face.
Main event, sneaky main event. Bobby Knuckles still got some
Bobby
shit,
Knuckles
man.
has some shit. He takes on an extremely dangerous opponent whose name I'm not going to attempt.
Yeah. So basically, the way we describe his opponent is like Islam without the name recognition.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
and what does Bobby Knuckles do? Beats the shit out of him. Instantly. And then Kamzat jumps on and was like, "We have an unfinished business, brother." And it's like, not really,
yeah,
dude.
like you're fake, sick, and retired.
Yeah. So and then,
but Bobby Knuckles was saying like, "Hey, maybe maybe run it with Sheriff Bullet." I think that's way too big of a step up.
For Knuckles? No, I'm saying Knuckles wanted to run with him.
Yeah, he mentioned it.
I think Knuckles. I don't know. Maybe he's in the Twilight's crib, but like the thing is, so Knuckles got blown out by Duplessis. I would like to see him potentially fight the winner of Israel and Duplessis. He lost to Israel
Izzy twice.
Yeah, and he lost to Duplessis. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So maybe have him step back a little bit and take
But then
on
also you had Volkan.
Pavlovich, Sergey Pavlovich versus Volkov. So the thing with them is they're former teammates, and
so I actually didn't know that.
Pavlovich wanted the fight because he used to make Volkov his bitch, and then after the fight got chippy. Did you see that? Pushed him at the decision.
So
and shit.
no, I heard that they had an interaction after. But yeah.
But Volkov's.
It's weird because like I forgot about him, and he's been like a perennial contender for the last like 10 years. He's been a top
Which
10
makes
guy
it difficult.
for, like,
You watching the poor Johnny Walker? Oh
just
my god!
decapitated.
This is the best part of the night, Rob. If you can get audio of this, the greatest call in UFC history. John Anik
stretchered him.
uses the term. Well, let's see if we can get it. This is so good. Ready? Listen.
He's done. He found it. Ozdemir stretchers Johnny Walker.
Oh my
Volkan Ozdemir stretchers Johnny Walker. I was crying laughing. Volkan Ozdemir stretchers Johnny Walker. The fact that the official broadcast uses the term stretchers Johnny Walker. So let's watch this. No one gets knocked out like Johnny Walker. This guy has a gift.
On skates. Doink.
Hurts him. Now watch this.
Good night.
Oh my God. Feet curled and everything. But again, John Anik using the term stretchers.
He's a local guy. He's a Newton guy, right?
He is. But he just goes, Volkan Ozdemir stretchers Johnny Walker. We were using that all last night.
So sneaky good event, and Matt and I cannot pronounce a single name on the UFC roster that's not like Bo Nickel. That's like, that's embarrassing. I'm supposed to be the
shame
pragmatic
on them.
guy.
Shame on them. No, I'm just kidding. That's terrible, dude.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
no, Pavlovich, Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, it's not exactly
But there's
fucking
Volkov,
John
there's
Smith.
Volkov, there's Volkanovski. There's I feel like there's just too much.
They're Russian, Mark. Okay.
Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, that's right. Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik.
Not Russian.
That's right. Wait, he's not Russian?
The Iron Sheik?
No, I was just
This is number one bullshit.
No, hold on.
Matthew.
Wasn't he Volkov's tag team partner though? That's why I said his name, dude. I wasn't saying he's Russian. I was saying wasn't the Iron Sheik Volkov's tag team partner?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anybody that wasn't American in the 1980s was a
Do you want an interview that is not radio or even podcast safe? Play anything the Iron Sheik had said.
Number one bullshit.
No, he was like fucking. He ended up being like a gross, weird
didn't
dude.
like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
And
I think he thought Hulk Hogan was a real person.
Yeah.
I think his Twitter was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a must read. If you wanted to flip my Ferrari for like the next 40 years, just Iron Sheik all day. Yeah, so that's it for this week's episode of the Toe to Toe Fight Show.
Thank you guys for tuning in this week. Again, like and subscribe so I don't have to cut any more promos. I'm really, really bad at the promos.
Yeah, he's really bad at it. We'll see you next time, all right, folks? Still fresh, baby. Toe to Toe Fight Show. Boom.